not too happy about this. This is probably the source of that funky smell that we've had in here for a long time. You would think if the leak was coming from above, there would be like a line going down and then spreading out, but I'm thinking this has to be the source here. So it's either coming in here or coming in here around this this light fixture. And it gives you a nice rounded edge. I'm gonna give this a day or two, see if I have any more leaks or anything, and then I'm gonna patch this up. And you just kind of hold it in place. This will be the longest installment of our video series here. I am back again working on this leak that I caused. Can't blame Winnebago or anyone for this, but if you remember several episodes ago, I found a leak and was trying to fix the leak that was around what I think was this area here, the refrigerator access panel, and I kind of poked a hole through the wall, which is right here, as you can see. I put my my saw right through the little thin membrane of the wall that's here. And this is the inside, and as you can see, this fiberglass piece that I stuck on there is nice and hard, but doesn't stick at all. So that's kind of the problem here. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend that fiberglass patch because it doesn't work, at least in RV walls. So I don't know, maybe they've got a representative from their company who could explain differently, but it didn't work for me, so I don't recommend using it. I'm gonna have to use real fiberglass, and hopefully that will work. So I hope. And now that I've sanded it down a little bit, so this right there, you can see the crack is still there, which is where the water's coming in, no doubt. So I've got to figure out what to do. Yeah, you can see it really good there. This is very thin, but the Bondo's been sanded off now, and what I think I'm gonna have to do is maybe even cut this open a little bit. Sorry, I'm not even like filming this, am I? I'm gonna have to cut this open, make a little bit of a gap there, and fiberglass it up. So I'm going back to the scene of the crime. This was the tool that inadvertently poked through the wall here. So I am going to use this multifunction tool and cut a nice little rectangle out, and then use fiberglass to patch it. It's a little scary, I'm kind of worried about this, but I'm going to trust that all those how-to videos out there were accurate. And having said that, I would definitely watch this until the end to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, but guess better get going, because it's starting to get dark, and I need to get this fixed. Okay, the cut is complete, and the fiberglass piece is off. As you can see, there's just a tiny little millimeter or so of fiberglass, and then it's wood right on through. Gotta touch that up a little bit, but that's the inside of the RV. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yep, there's the floor. So there's not much here, but I'm gonna cut the rest of this out and then fiberglass her up. Alright, so got a tablespoon and a teaspoon here, and make sure you don't use your wife's nice tablespoon. I grabbed one of the junker ones that somehow ended up in our house. No idea how it got here, but that's the one I'm going to use just in case this doesn't clean off well. Got my already pre-cut pieces of fiberglass. I'm guessing 3 will do the trick, but we'll see. And I just got an old plastic piece here that I used that came with my daughter's surfboard. So it was in the recycle bin, so why not use it? Give it one last hurrah on the way out the door. Alright, so the recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of resin. So I'm probably going to do twice this. So let's go for 1 and 12. Alright. And now we have the liquid hardener. You just take a thumbtack to the top. Make sure you take the cap off first, just to give a little pinprick there. And I definitely recommend using gloves. You don't want this stuff on you. Got a small hole now, and the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of hardener for every 6 tablespoons. So we're going to do a half. That's about right. It's kind of hard to tell exactly when it's a half. And then you mix it. And then the compound starts to harden. So let's get this mixing and let's get started. I guess this is going to be mixed well enough. There's really no way to tell until it starts to dry. So the recommendation is to put a little bit of this on the area you're going to paint for, or you're going to stick it on first. So let's get this on here. And we only have, remember, about 10 minutes to work with this stuff. I want to have this glue because the fiberglass is going to sit right on this. And then we take one of our fiberglass cloths and we lay it on top. And I'm going to worry about how to trim off the edges later. But for now, actually I'm going to try to keep it down below this. And keep it off of this purple ugliness. And now that we've got this on there, we're going to give it a good coat with some more of our goop here. You want to saturate it. So this cloth should get saturated with this. Start on the edges, or at least that's what I've seen everybody else do. Work your way in, I guess. And eventually this will just sand right down, and I hope you just kind of tap it and bat it and get this all over. And I put a cardboard backing in there. I didn't really talk about that, but just to give it some kind of a backing for now. But this is, again, just the first layer. You're going to want to use more. But a bunch of layers, or a bunch of this goop goes on it, the resin. And then let's lay another one. So let's put the second one on. And hopefully this will protect the RV from the elements. That's what I'm counting on here. So let's give it some more. So this is going to look awful until I'm able to prep this and clean it up, but for now it is what it is. So once this fiberglass goes on, this will harden, so I'm not worrying about what it looks like now. My main goal right now is watertight. That's what I want. So just brush out the edges, get that resin on there. Alright, we got the second one on. Let's go for a third layer, and then I think we're good. Alright, so I've got 3 coats on this bad boy on the outside and 2 on the end. So I'm hoping 5 layers of fiberglass will be good. And it's probably thicker than what's originally there, like I said before. Not sure how I'm going to get all this gunk off, but I'm sure a good sander will take care of all that, because it's pretty ugly right now. But right now I'm not concerned about aesthetics, I'm concerned about leaks. So we'll check back in tomorrow and we'll see how she dries. It's been a few days and I've rigged up this little contraption here to test if my fiberglass patch has truly held up. It's had a few days to dry and it's nice and solid. It looks absolutely hideous right now. But sanding will bring that down, hopefully, that you won't even notice it. Probably should have gotten rid of these a little bit more, but I was in a hurry for the sun. But it's a little bit indented right now, but some Bondo will fill that up and patch it so that it looks original. But I'm going to go ahead and start my hose and just run some water. It'll probably be more water than it will normally get. And let's just see if anything comes to the inside. So this is the inside, and it looks like it's all wet, but that's actually the fiberglass resin. So that's what's going to hopefully keep the water from coming in. At least that's the plan. I'm going to turn the hose on and we'll see if it worked. Hopefully we will see no water coming in. Here we go. Wish me luck. But there's water running on the outside, and so far we're staying dry. This down here is fiberglass resin. So at least it appears. Do I want to speak yet? I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet because I'm afraid that I will just jinx this. But so far so good. That's all I'll say. Now, that doesn't automatically mean this whole leak situation is solved, because again, remember, this was not the original leak. That was a Dawn created leak because I plunged the saw too far through the wall. So this is just fixing my mistake here. The actual leak, I believe, is coming from back there, but I think that has been repaired. But we need a good rain to see if it truly fixed it or not, so I can tell if there's been any more damage. But for now, it appears to be okay. So this is my high technology leak tester. This is what I've got coming from the outside. So far, after running this for about 5 minutes, I don't have any water coming in to the inside. So we got some rain, and upon further inspection of the hole here, it's looking much better. The rain actually just slowed down. It was coming down pretty good for a little while. That looks wet, but again, that's just the fiberglass resin. The bottom is what would always get wet, and as it would run along that metal stud there. But it's so far looking pretty good, so I'm excited that I think the leak has been patched. And in addition, it looks like this episode will finally be done. The leak, the rot, the smell, the mold, it looks like, dare I say, it looks like it might be fixed. I just wanted to give a final update. The hole has now finally been patched, covered with fiberglass, and then another layer of Bondo to smooth it out. Took a 60 grit sandpaper and got all this fiberglass down, which took quite a bit of work, a lot of elbow grease, and then softened down this Bondo, or smoothed it down with slowly escalating levels of sandpaper grit. So I think I finally ended up around like 320 or something like that to make it nice and smooth. But now, you know, it's basically as smooth as can be. If you were to paint over it, you'd probably never even know that there was a hole there. So thankfully, my mistake with the saw has been corrected, and the hole has been fixed, and the water leak has been stopped. Again, the original water leak was on the refrigerator vent on the roof. It's a super bright day, so forgive me for squinting, but it's really bright. I know I haven't done a very good job with this leak video, the whole series of leak videos, with actually showing you where the leak came from. So you saw all the work that was done trying to diagnose it and triage the leak, you know, from sealing the outside openings to, you know, cutting a hole through the wall, all that good stuff. But as it turns out, this was the source of the leak, right here. This is a refrigerator vent cover. I did not do a very good job of documenting the replacement of this, but honestly, it was probably one of the simplest things I did on my RV. The old one was brittle. I mean, you literally could grab it and it would break apart into pieces in your hand. And after a lot of trial and error, as you saw, if you've been following our videos, you can see the amount of work that went into diagnosing this leak, but the source was this. I happened to be replacing this anyway while working on the roof, and once I took it apart, I realized pretty quickly that this was the problem. And unfortunately, I didn't really film the whole process, but it's really simple. It's 4 screws, put some die cord down over the screws when you're done, and now your opening is covered up. But if you were able to see in there, there's a little channel that goes right down behind the refrigerator, and that's where that water was dripping in behind the refrigerator and then spreading out on the floor. So I can't speak for leak diagnosis in other places of the RV. I'm sure there are great ways to do it. But if you're ever in the same situation with a leak around the dinette area on a similar model that I have, here's my checklist for things to do first. Number one, check this thing. Check your roof for leaks, whether it's a refrigerator vent cap opening or just somewhere else. Just check your skylight, check those kind of places to make sure that this stuff up here, I mean, I live in Florida and the sun just does a number on these things and just makes them brittle, cracks them up into little pieces, and that's the first place to check for a leak. Secondly, I would look at maybe your windows, the vents that I had looked at, any exterior openings on the side of your RV. You know, where the water heater opens up, if it's over towards the kitchen, the refrigerator vent down below that you can access at the access panel, check that area. You know, any openings like for lights that are there. You know, I checked all those things and I die-cored them and made sure that they were sealed fresh so that no water could get in. But definitely check here. Check on the roof first. That's the most logical place for a leak, just like in a house. But after all the work that was done, sealing up the outside, just battening down the hatches, you know, I feel much safer in this RV now. I feel like I've touched up a lot of places where water can get in, and it's in a much better place now after doing all of this work. And I hope through watching my endeavors to fix this hole, you've learned something as well. So we've got lots more videos coming. As you can see, we've been cleaning this whole exterior of the RV and did a lot of work out here. So we've got a future episode coming up called It's a Clean Machine, where we will be covering all the work that went into getting this outside cleaned up and looking much nicer. But we've got lots of videos coming, lots of videos that we've already posted, so check them out. Thanks for watching 10,000 Roads. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. We would love your support, love comments below, and we'll see you next time.